Welcome back to the Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Brandon has a haircut.
I have a haircut.
He does, and he looks so good. Doesn't he look good? He looks so sharp. I mean, you could cut a tomato with how sharp Brandon looks right now. So if you have it, I mean, if I were you, I'm not telling you what to do, but if I were you, I'd probably comment on, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'd comment or even tweet us just like how good Brandon's haircut is. Let's boost that ego even more. I mean, a haircut already makes you feel good, but man, having people tell you it looks good, that's next level, and we can all do that for him. So, with that being said, welcome to a new week. New week, new haircut. We both got haircuts. Week 8.
Crazy.
We're halfway through. It is nuts.
Halfway there to playoffs, anyway.
Halfway there to playoffs, yes.
Yeah. I don't know where we are.
I don't know where. I know that we're at least halfway to playoffs. But, yeah, it's just been a ridiculous season. It seems like the COVID is kind of slowed down a little bit in the league. It seems like they have it a little bit more under control.
Never mind, we're halfway to the end. Wow, this is crazy.
Wow, halfway to the end. Wow, that's nuts.
I need to pay more attention when playoffs are coming.
I know, man. I haven't started planning for that just yet. But I feel good that I got Pacioretty in a trade, man. So, anyways, let's start off with the episode a week. So, Grammar School do have one. We were saying Martin Nakash, but apparently it's a Nachus. So it's Martin Nachus. Nachus is what we're told. Nachus. So we'll start saying that right from now on, since he's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
So week review, what do you have for us?
I really just have the Tom Wilson hit.
Oh, God.
Right? Yeah. He's not on the injury report, and neither is Brandon Carlo, because frankly, most people don't have Brandon Carlo in fantasy, so he's not particularly relevant. But so we're recording this Saturday during the day. We haven't heard what the response is going to be, but I imagine that if we recorded this tonight, that we'd have Wilson on the injury report for a suspension. But
what would you say, in your opinion, given the hit and everything, what would you say is a fair suspension to give out to Wilson?
People have said he's going to get at least 5. I actually think he's probably going to get 10. Just because, like, he's been suspended so many times for essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
Admittedly, he has been better about it lately, but it's not enough. Especially that hit was like, it wasn't like questionable, right? Like it wasn't. It wasn't like he like just couldn't stop or something.
No,
it's just not.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, that was to me way worse than the Blickfield hit. Blickfield.
Yeah.
I think it was worse than the Blickfield hit. Blickfeld hit.
Yeah.
I think it was worse. I would be okay with Wilson not playing another game this season. I said this on the Sit Start stream. Like, it's harsh, but you've suspended the guy for 20 games before. It seems like he cleaned up his act.
Like, I think that they will probably let him play playoffs. I think
that's such a to me that's such a joke. Like, you have a guy that like hits. Of course, you're going to want Wilson back for the playoffs. That's when you want him back the most. That's not teaching him a lesson. That's letting him play in the most important time of his career. Like, I don't think that's sending him a message. And the thing is, like, at the end of the day, we can say that, he's been better all we want, yet he just sent a dude to the hospital. So, did he really do better? Doesn't seem like it. So, right. I don't know. I hope they throw the book at him. I think they should. I'm so tired of, the fact that it wasn't even a minor is insane to me. How is that not even a minor? So, we'll see what happens. That's my take on him. I hope the book just gets absolutely thrown at him. Okay. Yeah. So, with that being said, that's all we have to talk about in the week review. A lot of anger at Tom Wilson. How about you take us into the injury report? Just like the old days. We're back at it.
Yeah. There's not a lot on the way out, interestingly enough. Bunch more came back than went out this week as far as fantasy relevant players, but Jake Gardner went out day-to-day with an upper body injury. He's like very fringe. I don't think many of you hopefully don't have him on your roster. Nathan McKinnon is day-to-day with an upper body injury. For all we know, he could play tonight, this being Saturday night, so he may be back by the time you hear this. But Rope Hintz is day-to-day with a lower body injury again, I guess. Matt Duchene is out a month with a lower body injury. Not really sure what came about with that. Apparently he got cross-checked. I didn't see the hit, but must have tweaked something. Igor Shesterkin is apparently only day-to-day with what looked like a worse than that groin injury. Oscar Sundqvist is day-to-day with something undisclosed so far. He's very fringe as well. And then Elias Pettersson is day-to-day with an upper body injury. And then as far as returners, we've got a bunch. Capo Caco came back. Joel Farabee's back. Mark Borietsky's back. Teuvo Teravainen's back. Connor Garland. Austin Matthews. Evgeny Kuznetsov. Matt Grzelcyk for probably 30 seconds. David Krejci also probably for 30 seconds. Travis Konechny and Jack Eichel are all back. And that takes care of the injury report. Not much going on.
I'm convinced Grzelcyk just came back to get an assist and then was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to get injured this game now. I'm gone. Goodbye. Thank you, friends, for watching me.
Seems plausible.
This seems very plausible. I actually am kind of low on Grzelcyk personally. Not a lot of peripherals, only played 19 minutes. Maybe they're easing him back in, but just not super high on it. We'll see. Okay, so let's move into drop candidates. My first one here is Andrew Kopp. Does not seem to be factoring in anymore. I don't know why he's still 30+% owned. You can safely drop Andrew Kopp from your rosters, and that's for both points and cats leagues at this point.
Yeah, definitely. My first one is Christian Dvorak, who's still sitting at 47% owned. The dream is dead with Dvorak. He might be an okay player, but being 50% owned, like, he's like a streamer option at this point, especially if he's not going to be shooting. Yeah,
if you drop him, you're going to be picking up a streamer, and a streamer is worth more than Dvorak at this point. Like, especially with the schedule coming up. Even though I will say Dvorak does have a good schedule upcoming, but there's so many off nights that it doesn't matter. There's going to be a lot to take advantage of. My next one here is Kevin Hayes. Minutes have dropped off a ton. Point production is gone. With the return of Couturier, it seems like it just killed Hayes. And I mean, not a lot is going right in Philly in general right now. I think you could safely drop Hayes, and no one's going to be picking him up, especially with how deep center is normally.
Yep. My next one here is Kyler Yamamoto, right wing, 59%. He's been on here before, I think.
He has.
I do think that they've moved Ryan Nugent-Hopkins onto that line, but I don't think that makes a difference to Yamamoto, and I don't think it's going to be long term anyway. They may have actually already changed that back. Yamamoto, like it basically seems like even with Puljujarvi, similarly, if you're not top power play, you're not really going to get a whole lot of, the even strength exposure is nice, but it's not going to be enough to make you a long term hold, and that's what we're seeing with Yamamoto now.
Exactly. That's the big thing there. And one thing I wanted to bring up, because I know that in the past, or we've gotten some comments and just thoughts from people that are like, oh, why does someone move from like a short-term ad or a long-term ad or sustainably high and then like immediately be on drop candidates, or they're now unsustainably low in a week? Like, why is that? And I think that the way I'll put it is that a lot of times when we're suggesting these people, right, they are at the end of the day people that are most likely streamers. We like them, and even with long-term targets, there is a certain amount of leash. And you have to be willing in your brain to just say, okay, that's it. I liked this guy, but now everything is pointing in a negative direction. It's not about patience so much. It's more about just evaluating the situation. If the situation is super negative, there is no point to holding anymore. That does not apply to my last person here, but just wanted to point that out, that that can happen. You can have swings if players go from 1 week be this incredible situation where you could see them being, a huge playmaker, and then all of a sudden the next week they're nothing because, well, now they're moved to the third line. Hoffman is a great example of someone that one week looked like, oh, top power play, top line, let's go. Like, this could be his chance. And then 2 games later, he's down to third line again, second power play. You're like, well, there you go. The dream is dead. And so that can happen. And so it's not, I think, a sign of like not knowing what you're doing if that happens. It's actually really smart to react to what's going on. Okay, my last one, Blake Coleman on the Tampa Bay Lightning, really just not worth 40% owned. He doesn't give you the peripherals to justify holding him that highly in a Cats league, and he's also just not getting points. Because he plays mostly defensive minutes for the most part, a lot of penalty kill, and as well just starts in the defensive zone more often than not. So I would be dropping Blake Coleman.
Yeah, and my last one here is, I agree with that, by the way, is Kyle Palmieri, right wing, 45%. It seems like the same thing every season with Palmieri. He starts off really strong and then becomes waiver material. Every single season he does the same thing. So we're in that, I don't know how many games it's been without a point, but I think it's like 5. It's been a minute since he's gotten a point. Yeah. So I don't I don't see any reason. Him being 45% owned seems very high to me at this point.
It's nuts to me that he's 45% owned. I at no point this season has he really even shown indications of being more than like a 55-point guy. That doesn't make any sense to me. Even in a points league, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's move into long-term targets here. My first one is out of Nashville, actually. You might not agree with this. You know where I'm going. I know that. No, Matthias Ekholm.
Oh, yeah, I don't agree with it.
Yeah. So here's the thing I do like about Ekholm is he's factoring into the offense a hell of a lot more as of late. Over the last 7 days, last 4 games or so, he's averaged about 23 minutes a game. That's pretty good. He's also does have a high shooting percentage himself. He has 4 goals, so that is high. That's his total on the season, though. And on the season, he's shooting at 9%. Will that come down? Sure. But what I'm looking at more is his IPP, which is doing really well. And his on-ice shooting percentage has kind of bounced back to kind of more normal levels. And if those minutes stay high, I could see him continuing to get these points. He's also shooting like a madman at the moment, tons of shots. So he's not afraid to shoot the puck. There are some secondary assists there, but I think that when it comes to Nashville, the reason I kind of like him as a long-term target, and when I say long-term, I'm thinking like a 2-3 week minimum sort of guy. The thing is, when a team I think is in a slump like Nashville is, they're looking at anybody to give them offense, right? And they run with that person. And so to me right now, with the way Ekholm is playing, they're going to run with him. They're going to let him do his thing. I think he played 26 minutes last game. So that to me is a guy that, okay, you know what? There's not a lot of defensemen out there on the wire that are going to get you points. And with Ekholm, he's worth a gamble, in my opinion. A little bit of a long-term gamble. Even though I
he
know
plays
you
like
disagree.
no power play. That's my biggest. I like that he's shooting a lot, but the lack of power play is a killer for me.
Yeah.
He has 1 power play point his whole season.
Yeah, although I will take his high, in a points league. I think I like him more in a points league than a Cats league. Although he's with his shots, I kind of like him in a Cats league as well. But in a points league, I think I could have a little bit of a longer leash as long as he continues this point production.
Yeah,
which
I'm not
is
sure
questionable,
will,
of course.
We'll
but
yeah. My first one is Max Jones. He was a short-term candidate last week, and then he missed part of this week after taking a high stick and apparently needing to get a tooth pulled, which I'm sure was fun.
Tooth pulled, fun.
A tooth pulled, but he has been really effective with shots and hits. So this is more of a Cats league play. We'll see if the points start to come. He had a couple goals there for a while, and he is playing on that unit with Comtois and Fowler and Getzlav that seems to be getting something done on the power play occasionally. I don't know if that can be really trusted long term, but I think he makes just for a good, like Blake Coleman type with a little bit more upside right now play, and he's got good off nights coming into this week, even as a long term target. But yeah, I've got him in a handful of leagues now.
I do like that. That's a trick. That's a very good deep one, especially.
He's 1% on, yeah.
Yeah, which is so good. I've got a really low owned.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be suggesting this goalie, but here I am. Jonathan Bernier.
Oh my God.
10%.
Where have we come?
10%. Here's the thing with Bernier. An insane amount of saves. If you count saves, I mean a ridiculous amount of saves because Detroit sucks. He has a .294 goals against average on the season and a .910 save percentage. And if you look at his numbers, like he's been good. He's been average for the most part. Like he's been doing as expected. His high danger save percentage is a little bit better than average, but not anything that's like, oh my God, this is going to come back down to earth. His low danger, right in line. He's just been good, honestly. And nothing has really changed to say that I don't see anything, at least, that I could see this saying it's going to fall off a cliff entirely. He did finish with a 9.07 last year, or .907 last year. So it's not that crazy to say he's going to finish with a .910. Part of it is just that he has so many saves that it keeps that save percentage high. It reminds me of Varlamov on the Avalanche a few years back. The Avalanche were awful. They were terrible. And yet, Varlamov was still kind of serviceable because he got you so many saves, and he just faced so many saves that at the end of the day, you still kind of got some opportunities, So I like Jonathan Bernier a bit, especially in deeper leagues, and especially leagues that count a lot of saves. He's worth a look. I know it sounds crazy, but just go take a look at him. It's not as wild of a thought. as you'd think.
Back into the realm of reality here. My next one is going to be Tim Stützle, left wing, 21%. I feel like the train has already left with Batherson. He's above 55%, or above 50%. I think he is 55%. So that was last week, and now this week, Stützle, his line mate, and line mate also on the top power play, is being a little bit left behind here. His production's been pretty good as well. His shots have been pretty good. So I think that he is due for some pickups as well if you're looking for a potential long-term target.
Agreed. I had him short-term targets, actually, just because of Ottawa's great schedule. Yeah, I mean, Ottawa's schedule is ridiculous this week. So I had him on short-term because I wasn't ready to call him long-term yet, just because things keep changing there in Ottawa. But I do like that, honestly, especially in deeper leagues. Makes sense. My last one, Rickard Rakell. Seems to have figured it out as of late. Yeah, I mean, this is a weird long-term targets for me, okay? Just don't completely hold it against me. But he has been good as of late. His minutes have gone up. He's playing about 19 over his last 13 games. He's on a 63-point pace over his last 13 games. All of that with a 5% shooting. So he's shooting at 5% only. So there's still some goals that should be coming his way. Just a few, not too many. And his IPP and on-ice shooting has kind of come back to normal. So it seems like whatever they've done with the squad has really worked around him. You know, Seagrass and Comtois being better. And so I do like him. He's not going to get you power play points. It's not where points are going to come from, although he does play half the power play time. For the most part, you're expecting that 5-on-5 production. And the nice thing is that his shots have come back up. I have actually come up a lot, and he's shooting now more than he has been on the season. So I do like Rakell, especially with all the off nights Anaheim's going to have here coming up. He is an interesting look. And that left wing, right wing is sweet on Yahoo.
Yep. I think he has the center position as well on Fantrax for that.
I'm pretty sure he does. I think he's triple eligible on Fantrax.
Yeah. My last one here is Adam Boquist, mostly for points leagues. Defense 9%, doing very well in the power play lately, and that's kind of like all you need to know, really.
Yeah.
He's getting power. He's getting production on the power play. That's reason enough, I think. And especially at 9%, and especially in points leagues. It's
hard to find defensemen like that. I mean, it's hard to find point defensemen this late in the game, and if Boquist is going to keep it on that elite power play, then you know what? It's worth a gamble, especially like you said in points leagues more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's move on to the week preview. Talk about the schedule here real quick. So there's a lot of teams with off nights. There's a lot of off nights in general this week. So I would absolutely be kind of eyeing how to maximize my roster, and you might not even need to just because there's already so many off nights. So teams that play 3 off nights are going to be 3 or more off nights are going to be Ottawa, Minnesota, Los Angeles, Colorado, and Arizona, who all have 4 off nights. So those are the teams you're really going to want to be targeting. So that's where Stützle comes in. And then for 3 off nights, you've got Vegas, Edmonton, and Anaheim. And teams with good matchups are going to be Anaheim, who have 2 Kings games and 2 San Jose games. You've got Montreal, who has 2 Vancouver games, 2 Calgary games. Edmonton, with what I think is the best schedule of the week, with 3 Ottawa games and 1 Vancouver game. Then you've got Tampa, who's got 2 Detroit games and 1 Nashville game. So, looking at your Pilots, your Kalorans, just see what you can fit, but just an idea. So, moving on to short-term targets, I've actually got an interesting one that isn't really a play for this week. It's just someone to put on your watch list. I kind of teased him on the sit start from this last weekend. That's going to be Alexei Melnichuk on San Jose. 0% owned guy. Dubnyk sucks.
Yep.
Jones can't stop a puck.
Yep.
Melnichuk was sent down to the AHL to get some starts, and what he currently said, and here's what Boehner said about him on February 11th, because he came in relief of Martin Jones. He said he's a big part of the future of the team. The plan would be for him to get some games with the Barracuda, which I know the Barracuda are going on an upcoming road trip. And I think that's the plan, to get him into some action first. I think the plan is to flip those guys and get some, which is the other goalie they have, Koronak or something like that. I forget is the other guy that's young. But of course, I think that is a big part of the future. And if we think he's ready to make a difference and help the team out, then of course he's going to get his chance. At this point, you've got to think that in the next week or so, if Jones and Dubnyk keep this up, you're going to give Melnichuk a chance. And there's a very real chance that he steals the net. Just a 0% goalie to watch. I'm putting that out there for you.
I like that a lot.
And he's good.
My first, I'm going to take 2 here because they are also my long terms. That's Max Jones at 1% and Stützle at 21%. And we both already kind of told that they were going to be on this, but
Yeah.
very good schedules for each of them. I think Jones. I think we're going to see if Jones can put some goals or assists together with his peripherals. I think he's going to pop really quickly. So at 1%, like, especially if you're doing well in your league, I would eat your streamer spot for him, and you might have a keeper on your hands by the end of the week. We'll see.
Huh. That's a bold take.
I don't mean a keeper like over the season. I mean like
You mean
keeper,
like a long-term
you're not going to
keeper.
stream him back out. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's fair. My next one here is actually kind of similar. Someone that you might end up holding on to, and that's Chandler Stevenson at 14% owned. Getting a lot of minutes with the Golden Knights. And I feel like we've been waiting this whole season for Chandler Stevenson to turn into like a consistent player. You know, someone that you can pick up and you're like, okay, he's actually going to get me points. And over the last 4 games, he's kind of done that. Now, he has himself a ridiculous shooting percentage on the season. That I agree with. What he's benefiting a lot from right now is a very good on-ice shooting percentage because he's surrounded by really good players. Of course, and he's playing half the power play now, which is a big increase from what he was at before. On the season himself, he's played 28%, because he was getting like no power play time at one point. But right now, he's playing about 50% of the power play time for the Vegas Golden Knights. So I do like the direction Chandler Stevenson is going. He has center right wing, and he is worth a gamble at 14% owned, I think, for this week specifically, too, when Vegas has 3 off nights.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Speaking of gambles, I'm usually not the one to mention guys that I think are already unsustainable as pickup options, but I'm going to this time. And that's
change of
Jordan
pace.
Greenway.
Oh, I had him
Left
too.
wing, right wing, 19%. Yeah. He's
Yep.
been, his minutes have been kind of all over the place. There's not a lot sustainable about what's going on, and yet,
And yet.
he's left wing, right wing. He throws the body. He takes shots. I think he's worth a look.
Yeah.
Has
I
all the
agree.
off nights as well.
I agree. I think just the off nights alone make him really worth it. He's got left wing, right wing as well. That makes a big difference. I like him quite a bit. And like you said, crazy unsustainable right now. But at the same time, I'll take it with how everything's been going. And I mean, all those off nights, whew, you got to love it.
You got any more?
And that's it. No, that's it, because I had
2 more.
Stützle. I had Stützle and
Okay.
Greenway. So you take us through and round it
All
out.
right. My next one here is Alex Iafallo, left wing, 9%.
like
Always an option. He's kind of that like guaranteed streamer option that's just going to be there. So if you need somebody and for some reason a lot of these other options are gone, I still like him.
The question is,
And then
do you
lastly
like,
here,
do you
Go
like Kempe or Iafallo more?
I think I like Iafallo, but not by a huge margin.
Yeah.
And then lastly here, Alexander Georgiev,
Yeah.
29%. He, is going to have the net for as long as Shesterkin's out, which we don't
Yeah.
really know how long that's going to be. And he's getting shelled in the game that's going on right now. Again, we're recording
Nice.
this
That's good.
during Saturday during the day, but who knows? I'm not going to. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for now.
Yeah.
That this game isn't going to be indicative of what we're going to see from him going forward, I don't know. He just has 2 goals against pretty quickly. It's not going that badly. Or
He does
anything.
have he has an assist as well, for what it's worth.
There you go.
So that counts for something.
Sustainably high.
I mean, would you rather have Georgiev or Jonathan Bernier? Thoughts to put into the
Georgiev.
head.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
I definitely would.
I don't know. I might want Bernier. I don't know.
Hey,
Crazy land here.
go ahead.
We've entered.
Go ahead with
We've
that.
entered crazy land. Anyways, well, there you go. That is the week preview. We kept it short and quick this week. Thank you
we're
so much
quick.
for tuning in. Yeah, it was a very quick one this time. We will catch you for Unsustainable Wednesdays, and actually, we might have a little special something coming out Monday afternoon, evening time. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Yep. Thanks for listening.